swept down my spine. Queen Viola, I was warned, was nothing like Redmond, her underling I'd faced off against. She was much more vicious, much more cruel, and much smarter. Not to mention the fact that she was one of the most powerful Autumn Fae alive, according to Rourke, my Autumn Fae instructor. I'd begged and pleaded for us to go after the Fae responsible for the attacks, but not even Liam was willing to take the risk. It was far too dangerous, they'd said. Queen Viola would be expecting an attack, and she'd be prepared for it. Her subjects adored her. In their minds, any move taken against her was a terrible treason, and there would be hell to pay. So, we'd gone back to academy life as if nothing had ever happened, though I didn't miss the whispered conversations between my instructors when they didn't think I was watching. They'd been planning something, biding their time, waiting for the right moment to strike. Until now. Over the glistening hill, 6 horses appeared along with their riders, all decked in varying hues of oranges, browns, and muddy reds. As if by instinct, Liam's hand whispered across my back. My entire body clenched tight, and my lungs gasped for air. Liam's touch had been an elusive thing these past few months, a fact that made me feel as though I hadn't eaten in weeks. In truth, all of my instructors had put a strange, unspoken gulf between us. Or at least that was what it felt like to me. Flirtations? Sometimes. Gazes that said more than their words ever could? Affirmative. But my skin burned from the absence of their physical touch. Not even Cale would allow himself to be alone with me, not even after the way he'd kissed me as though he'd been gasping for air. And every time I tried asking why, every single one would have mysterious plans that made them disappear before I'd even finished voicing my thoughts and questions aloud. They were still my ever-present, overprotective instructors, of course, but it was almost as if they were trying to push away that bone-deep bond I knew we all felt. Or, at least, I'd thought we felt. Maybe I'd been wrong. Liam jerked back his hand, almost as if he'd suddenly realized how his body had betrayed him, and he glanced around furtively. Frowning, I narrowed my eyes. You look far more worried about someone seeing you touching me than you are about the arrival of Queen Viola. My words came out in a snap.
I wouldn't want to give anyone the wrong idea.
What the hell does that mean? Liam's eyes cut toward the procession of Autumn Court royals. They were now close enough to make out their distinguishing features, and it was clear in an instant just how autumn they truly were. In the front strode a row of 3 males with 1 female fae slightly ahead of the others. She had long, flowing auburn hair, the color of falling leaves. The low light of the sun glistened off her dark strands, casting a burnt yellow glow across her sharp face. Her cheekbones were hollow, her jawline and nose were sharp and pointed. She was beautiful in a breathtaking kind of way, but she was also severe, sharp, and uncompromising. Well, I can see now why people find her intimidating, I murmured to Liam.
And her bite is a hell of a lot worse than her bark, darling,
Liam said in his familiar drawl. At the sound of darling, my insides quaked. It had been a long time since I'd heard him use that term of endearment. We were no longer inside the academy grounds, and it was almost as though his mask of indifference was starting to slip out here in the real world, because I'd still felt his heated gazes all these weeks, regardless of how much he tried to hide them. I opened my mouth to speak, but a strange electricity sizzled around us. The buzzing crowd had been replaced by a strange and eerie quiet mass of fairies and changelings. Everyone's gazes were locked on the approaching autumn royals. Fear flickered across some faces, and anger boiled on others. No one was happy to see them, a fact that Queen Viola didn't seem to mind at all. Her face was pure steel, her lips turned up into a smug smile. As the heavy thud of horse hooves grew closer, Queen Viola's eyes suddenly cut straight to me. Her gleaming red eyes flickered, and her thin lips pressed tight together. There was something strange about her gaze, one that lasted far longer than a casual glance. She cocked her head when I frowned, as if in curiosity or recognition. Did she know who I was? The girl who had defeated the Fae she'd sent.